Hey folks, welcome back. This is Matt, the Barking Bulldog, and welcome to another review. So this is going to be part one of two reviews I'm going to be doing this week. So the first review that I am doing is movie review number 22, and that is Spirit Untamed. So this review came it was a review that came out all of a sudden. I was looking, this was actually, believe it or not, this was back in January when I was planning out my watch list for movies to review. And it just so happens that DreamWorks was coming up with another movie. And it just so happens to do one on Spirit. And I was like, okay, cool. I used to love the movie Spirit Style Cimarron, which came out in early 2002. And I think it's one of DreamWorks' most, let's just say, overlooked films of that decade. I really think that when Shrek came out, I think Spirit was just left there to rot, and it'll come up occasionally, but it wouldn't really be like on TV as much as you would see it now because of the Netflix series Spirit running free. But other than that, I really think this is cool. So this is Spirit Untamed. So this movie is based off of the Netflix series, like I said before, Spirit running free. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on Netflix. So this is a film that I really kind of have a mixed bag on, per se. I've seen a lot of reviews for this movie. They say it's not that good because, you have to be the right audience to enjoy this film. And, for a guy who watched this back in the early 90s, 2000s, this is a great film. So here's some things that I really like. So number one, character development. So character development in this film is pretty good, and there are a lot of great moments when you see these characters develop into this great chemistry, in the great chemistry of things, the great scheme of things. So this film really is special in that development mark. Most notably, the main protagonist, Lucky Prescott. I mean, she is this character who is really just very, very spunky and a lot of heart. I really do appreciate that out of this movie. Also, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Tim Prescott, I think, and Lucky's dad, another fantastic character that's been developed so much over this movie, and I really do like it because of that. So number two, the setting. So with DreamWorks movies, they always go above and beyond their traditional standard for animation. So if you look at something Pixar, you're going to expect a lot out of Pixar because of their films such as Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Cars, The Incredibles. The list keeps on going. But with DreamWorks, the earliest phase that we could get was around 1998, and that was the very first computer animated film, their first one. And then their first 2D animated film was back in 2000 with The Road to El Dorado. And this was actually The Prince of Egypt was their first one. This was kind of their last film for 2D animation with Spirit. And I was kind of expecting this to be a little bit average. You're not getting the same directors as you would get with something like How to Train Your Dragon and Mr. Peabody and Sherman. But still, though, the setting is very beautifully made. It's got like that paint aesthetic with it, you paint and all those watercolors. That's kind of what I'm seeing with this movie. Again, DreamWorks does a really good job of their animation. It's not as good as Pixar's, but still they do a very awesome job. So then number three, emotional moments. Going back to that character development, I really think that there is a lot of great moments in this film where you can tug at your heartstrings a little bit. And actually, I went and saw this with my younger sister, and she actually was crying a little bit at maybe one or two, more than one part of the film. So basically, it was like pretty much every other part there will be an emotional moment, and that would make this really special for me. It's an emotional movie. Spirit back in 2009, Spirit, the original movie, was very unspoken, and so basically what that and plus the whole movie was nothing but narration in that thing, and that was the most beautiful thing. The emotional moments continue here, especially if you watch The Spirit Ride 3. You'll kind of see what I mean. Those emotional moments kind of tied in. The series is not as good, but still, the movie is pretty spectacular, and it's special for those emotional moments. I'm not going to spoil it. Go watch it. I think it's on demand for that. Alright, so some comments. So, one of them I have is the story. So, with Spirit Untamed, this story is kind of generic. So, I reference this back to what we call the Horseland model. So, back in the early 2000s, the Incredible World Geek, who made shows like Captain Planet and Heathcliff, and a few of the Garfield stuff, and Inspector Gadget, made a show called Horseland back in the early to mid 2000s. And it was based off these three girls who owned this farm out in the middle of the countryside with their horses, and they were all fucking horses. And they had a dog and a kid. Basically, this is kind of the same thing here. Kind of that generic story of the girl who came to town looking for that perfect parent, going with their father, and then having adventure, That's kind of what I'm thinking of with the story. It's very generic, although with Spirit, I think it has that little bit of magic touch to it. But still see it's a little bit more generic than you can usually get. Of course, it's for the audience intended for this film. I'm not part of that audience, but still, though, this film is pretty cool. But the story could have been a little bit more developed in that sense. So, number 2, songs. So, back when Spirit was released, James Cromwell and Bryan Adams did the majority of the songs for that film. And the songs were very well known. But the movie itself was not, considering that it was a very overlooked film for the time. So some of the songs were sung by Becky G and Taylor Swift, who did the main theme for the movie, which, Taylor Swift's song for the movie is very, very emotionally good, and I kind of shed some tears on that song. You should listen to that song. You should probably go check it out. But I'm not going to post it here because of copyright issues. But you guys should go check it out. I'll leave links in the description below. So, for Spirit Untamed, this is a film that I can see as very decent. But, in a sense, this is a film that is very good, but not good enough for it to be a DreamWorks film. In a sense. It's a good film if you have little kids, but if you're an adult like me who loved the original 2002 Spirit, this film might not be for you, but it might be if you're looking for that little bit of magic in the air for this movie and for the series itself. So, with that thing in mind, I'm going to give Spirit Untamed a 3.6 out of 5 stars. Just because, this is not really the quote-unquote movie that I was hoping for. But still, it's a movie that really is kind of special. And it's kind of going to be like one of those overlooked DreamWorks movies of the 2010s, 2020s, of the new decade. So, story continues with Spirit on that part. But, yeah, so I would recommend this movie to, if you have younger children. This is probably the film for you. If you're older, wanting to have a little nostalgia, then I would recommend it. But just try to be aware not to bash it so much. I gave this movie a 3.6, 3.7 because of the story and some of the songs. But still, this is a movie that I would recommend to people. So yeah, guys, that's it for my review of this movie. I hope you guys have enjoyed the review. I really enjoyed this movie. I wish it could have been better, but it was good. So yeah, so my next review is going to be Disney's Cruella, and I am in the process of filming that review right now as we speak. That review is set to be released Thursday at noon. And then after that, my next review will probably be my next official review will be Space Jam: A New Legacy, which will come out on July 16th, and that will be review number 24. But of course, I might do a little quickie bid and do Wish Dragon. I have not decided on that yet, but I am planning on doing that, so just be on the lookout for that. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. So long, folks.